Hey guys, Jake with Black Ops. Today we're going to be showing you how to install the Gusset kit on your Can-Am X3. Let's dive on in.
The first step of the installation is to remove all the hardware holding the front fascia onto the vehicle. Next, gently remove the front fascia from the vehicle. Now remove all the hardware holding the radiator to the vehicle. Using a bungee cord, position the radiator up above the shock tower so it's out of the way. With the radiator out of the way, now you can jack the vehicle up until the tires are off the ground. Next, remove the tire and wheel. Now remove the lower shock bolt and bungee the shock up out of the way. Next, detach the sway bar from the upper A-arm and repeat these steps on the opposite side. Using an 18mm socket and wrench, remove the 4 bolts holding the bumper and A-arms. With the hardware removed, you can now remove the front bumper. Next, remove the front diff actuator. There are 3 bolts on the side and 1 on the top. Using an 18mm socket and an 18mm wrench, remove the back bolts on the upper A-arms. Now, using an 18mm socket, remove the back nuts on the lower A-arms. Using a pair of pliers, remove the vent tube off of the front diff. Using jack stands, position the A-arms so you can easily remove them from the car. With the A-arms removed, discard the thin metal bushing retainers. You do not need them. Next, move the upper A-arms out of the way so you have room. Using a grinder and a cutoff wheel, cut the lower A-arm studs off as close as you can to the frame. Now, using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts holding the stud bracket to the frame. I recommend using a magnet to remove the stud bracket from in between the front diff and the frame. Using the supplied A-arm bolts, position the Black Ops bulkhead on the chassis as a template to drill out the 6 mounting holes. Next, remove the 2 10mm bolts holding the factory chassis brace behind the bulkhead. With the factory brace removed, you can now finish and drill out the top 2 holes. Using the supplied hardware, install the Black Ops rear upper A-arm mount. Next, remove the rear lower A-arm factory shim from the studs. Using a 15mm socket and wrench, remove the bolt holding the lower A-arm to the knuckle. Repeat this step on the opposite side. With the double shear mount placed over the center tube of the chassis, position both lower arms into the mount. Next, slide the A-arms onto the studs sticking out of the chassis. You may need to use a dead blow hammer to do this. Once you have enough threads showing, use the supplied hardware to seat the A-arm onto the studs. Now install the Black Ops bulkhead onto the lower A-arms and the chassis. Next, install the lower rear bulkhead brace. This goes behind the chassis where the A-arm bolt comes through. Now you can install the nuts on the back side of the lower A-arm bolts. Next, install the upper A-arms into the Black Ops bulkhead. Now you can install the upper rear bulkhead brace. This goes behind the chassis where the A-arm bolt comes through. Using a magnet, install the spacers in between the bulkhead and the chassis, and attach using the supplied hardware. Repeat this step on the opposite side. Install the supplied hardware into the lower section of the Black Ops bulkhead. Repeat this step on the upper section of the Black Ops bulkhead. Next, install both upper A-arms into the rear mount and tighten. Once all the A-arms are in place, you can then add the double shear plate onto the rear of the lower A-arms. Use Loctite when installing the nuts and tighten. You can now tighten all of the small hardware on your Black Ops bulkhead. Leave all of the front A-arm bolts loose as you will be removing them next. With your A-arm bolts removed, install them into the front bumper and slide them into the front A-arms. Once you have the A-arm bolts installed through the bumper, tighten them down and reassemble the front of your car. With the front of your vehicle put back together, jack up the front of your car to install the tires and wheels, and your installation is complete.